All right, we are broadcasting.
Oh, cool. Look at us. All right.
Now to find people to come join us.
I'm going to find that broadcast and I'm going to send it the hell out. What's up, everybody? If you are watching it, it's weird that now you can't share it. Oh, yeah. Okay, you can share it. I'd rather share it than do a watch party.
All right, so share public. Should I share to the conspiracy group?
Yeah, dude, share to whatever you want. Yeah.
I started a watch party. Do I have
to you can share. I'd rather share than do a watch party.
Oh, I think I started a watch party in the conspiracy group, but that's fine.
I feel like I might have to do the same because I'm having a hard time just sharing it to my page.
Maybe that's something new that Facebook is pushing. Well, it's not new, but maybe it's something that they're pushing. We have 2 people watching now.
Facebook, you dicks. All right, I'll do a watch party. Whatever. Hey, everybody, what's going on? Feel free to hit us up with anything about Essence House since episode 6 dropped this week. And if you're a Patreon user, episode 7 dropped. So there's lots of cool stuff to talk about. Let us know in any of wherever you happen to be watching this. Let us know, and we will get to your questions, comments, theories, queries, whatever the hell you're throwing at us.
Okay. Wow. It's like subtitling our video automatically, too.
Oh.
Right over my face, so you guys lucked out.
That is badass. I'm seeing it.
Isn't that wild?
Wow. Why am I so surprised and blown away? I guess just because it's a new feature, but
yeah,
that's just kind of funny. All right.
Well, here we are.
Here we are.
What did you want to talk about again?
Pardon?
What did you want to talk about again?
Yeah, I know, right?
5?
Well, I mean, I guess for those of you who don't know what the hell this is or what's going on, Eric and I are the co-creators behind Essence House, the metaphysical mystery audio drama. And we're up to episode 6, which is huge because now it means that we have a 10 episode season. So it means that we're over that hump where we've now put out more episodes than not. You know what I mean? We're closer to that end than we were to the beginning.
Right. And we're in the middle of writing the end now, which is just wild considering 3 months ago. I mean, we started on the 1st of the year. Yeah. So it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, man. It's been a wild ride, hasn't it? Just kind of learning about it and getting stuff out there and all that kind of stuff. And even as far as feeling the story developing. Because for those of you who don't know, we do have it all kind of plotted out and outlined, but it's open to both of us being able to add some things. And I think that's something that's fun for us because when Eric writes an episode, I get to go, oh, cool, I'm going to learn something new. There's going to be this fun little fan thing, even if it's just, even if all the main stuff is there, there's moments between the characters, dialogue that's said, all that kind of stuff that, you might not have done that the other person has been able to drop in there and you go, oh, cool, wouldn't even have thought of doing it like that. So,
and there's parts that are super detail heavy, and we have so many little details plotted out that it's fun to fill in new little details to mess with later. It's just been a great thing like that.
Yeah.
And it's been a cool experience writing like episodically too.
I've been telling everyone, like, this is the closest to writing for TV that I've ever gotten. And, I mean, obviously. And I love it. Like, I've always loved the format of how a serial show happens. And I know that, like, comics can happen like that, but comics are such a slow process that this is just so cool.
Like, as an indie creator, if this was comics, you know, to be on issue 6, we'd be like 3 or 4 years in. Like,
yeah,
it's expensive. It's just time consuming. I don't know, you might be building an audience, which is great over time, but you also might not. So it's like, it starts to feel like, is it worth it? But we're doing this so fast that it's definitely not worth it, but it's cool still.
yeah.
In the same terms, I mean, I definitely feel like it's all worth it, but in the same terms as you might judge something like a comic or something that you're putting out that has a price point to it.
Yes. And it doesn't have as much immediate gratification. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, I love listening to the episodes and all that kind of stuff, but all the information's still there. Like, there's not a huge difference between what we've written. I mean, obviously, the work that is his name Mike, our voice actor,
Michael Ditter.
So the work that Mike does, which is cool, the work that he does, and then the extra sound effects and stuff that you do, they're cool and they add to it. But it's not like with a comic where you see the art and you're like, holy crap, I didn't even imagine it like this. No, this is literally our words transmitted into voice. It is how we imagined it, you know?
I mean, like, there has been moments like when he sang that one part that was like, holy crap, he sang it. Like, there's been some cool surprises like that. But yeah, for the most part, it's also in that way, it's harder marketing wise. The internet is so visual. Nobody scrolls through and listens to things like, and this is all audio. There's only, I don't know, a few different graphics ever even used for this. Like, I drew the one and Avery Ferdinand colored it. And then there's been just a couple other graphics that I've created with the clock imagery and stuff. But like, just on a graphic heavy platform, it makes it a little more tricky to market.
Yeah, absolutely. I would say one of the times where I was caught by surprise was, I think it was the end of episode 3 when Michael sang.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I was blown away because in my head, I would have just said it. You know what I mean? Like, I can sing, but I probably just would have said it. And yeah, that was just, it was so unexpected. And I was like, oh, damn, this dude's got some talent. Okay, cool. Like, that was, and he even tried to, like, kind of match the sound of Willie's voice and everything. So that was one of the few times where I was like, okay, cool. You really took it to that next level. And that was a feeling like what we get when we do comics.
Yeah. That's been a cool experience too. I mean, every time I turn it in and I hear it, it's like, it's that point of like, oh, now it's real, you know? So like, there is like a little bit of that feel, but it isn't like when you get a page, like a splash page in a comic and you're like, holy crap. So I get what you're saying.
Yeah. My good buddy Art Belfield, he's saying he needs to review Essence House. And I'm like, yeah, you do.
We definitely would be open to that.
Yeah. I mean, like, we've gotten some good reviews as far as, but it's just, you know, like, oh, I liked it. It was really good. Keep up the good work. Or, you know, just a 5-star thing. And it's like, those are nice. But I've always said from the beginning of this, I would be completely open to someone coming in and being like, it's really good, but this, that. And I would be totally fine because it means they listened to it. They really cared. And we might be able to learn from what they said. I mean, they could be completely full of shit, but, you know.
Yeah, just everything that people say about things don't necessarily mean a damn thing. Like,
yeah. I mean, obviously you have to. Yeah.
in today's atmosphere, where if I didn't like something that happened in a movie, it didn't happen like I wanted it to, then the movie sucks. Like, so
Yeah.
there definitely will
Well,
be
it's like,
things that maybe we don't do that you wanted us to do. But
yeah. A fellow comic reviewer got in touch with me today, and he sent me a picture, and he said, "Look, man, like this person, all they did was they disliked all of my videos," and I'm like, "Okay, like then you're a real YouTuber now. Congratulations." And he's like, "What?" And I'm like, "I don't think I have a single dislike on any of my videos, and I would probably welcome one at this point."
yeah,
Because it means someone genuinely reacted to it, and you know, if you have a crap ton of dislikes on something and you really put your heart into it, that sucks. That's tough. But you know,
and honestly, you should just stay off of social media. Like,
yeah,
if it affects you that much,
yeah,
yeah, I definitely would welcome feedback like that. And I don't
yeah,
think, I guess it's nice maybe that we haven't gotten really anything negative. I've had people say that this kind of story isn't my thing, but you guys sound like you're doing
yeah,
a good job, and I appreciate that, because
yeah.
everybody doesn't have to like everything, and I don't care if somebody doesn't like my stuff. Like, that's fine. That you don't have
Yeah.
to.
It's funny because I'm currently reviewing a comic series, and it's very like 1960s, 70s campy, and that's not my stuff at all. But it's done pretty well, you know. Like it's still a good book. It doesn't make it complete crap. Now Art's gonna go dislike all of my videos.
Hey, you made it, Chuck.
Yeah, I know, right?
Welcome
You're just butthurt that I bring the good ones.
But even when it comes to Essence House, when I pitched Essence House to you, that wasn't your thing.
And yet, I would say that I've taken to it. I think we've turned it into something that like it really feels like an amalgamation of what both you and I do.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that's really worked out. Art says that he's not familiar with your work. Why don't you tell him about some of the projects that you've worked on?
So in comics, I started out with superhero parody work. Like when I was a kid, in high school, I was drawing a comic called Adhesive Man that was the superhero that stuck to things, and it usually was more of a hindrance than anything. Me and a buddy created like a whole universe around that, and so since then I've put out several Adhesive Man related things. It's been a few years now since I've done anything with that. I started doing Blister, which was about growing up in the 90s as a punk rock kid, very Gen X. And that I wrote a book first, a whole 8 stories in a book. And I started translating that to comics a few years ago. So that's kind of my highlights. And by trade, I do video productions. So the audio work that I do on this story like comes directly from what I do there, pretty much. Like adding audio to video is something I'm always doing. So,
you know, it's funny that you mentioned that because I don't remember what it was, but it was sometime when you, me, and Jess were doing one of the after shows that we do for the Patreon user. By the way, if you guys want to check us out on Patreon, it's $2 a month, and you get your episodes 2 weeks earlier. So episode 7 just dropped today for the Patreon users, and you also get access to the after shows. But we were doing the after show, and she made fun of the fact that there's like that I should kind of screw with you a little bit and make noises and stuff, force noises in there. And I was like, okay. So in episode 7, I did exactly that, and I added in a loud truck horn. And guys, he actually did a really good job. Like you really feel like you're there. He did. Honestly, it just makes me want to keep screwing with him because he keeps hitting it out of the park, and it's fun.
That was fun because it also made for a cool transition, like between like moments. So really,
Yeah, and
it actually worked out really well.
it did, and actually it created a lot of tension in that scene too. You know,
Mm-hmm.
like I kind of got a little worried. I'm like, oh shoot, what's going on with the car? Like all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it was handled really really well. So when I've sat down to work on 8, I'm like, how am I gonna screw with them this time? What am I gonna do? I'm just excited, you know, because we made the joke that I was gonna drop an elephant in there, which I don't know how the hell I'm gonna do that or if I'm gonna do it, but I'm gonna do something almost in every episode now just to test you out and see, is he listening? What's he gonna do? How's he gonna handle this?
Yeah, when I was editing it and I came to that scene, I was just like, this will make a really cool like moment there. Just kind of like the sound stops and all of a sudden there's the truck. Like, yeah, that was cool. So I welcome that. I might have to see how I can screw with myself.
It's funny. Katrina was saying her review of the episode basically is she was enjoying and evaluating episode 5 so much that she actually missed the driveway to her kid's dorm on evacuation day and drove right past it. I think that speaks well to what we're doing.
Yes, we want to distract all the drivers if we can.
We do. Well, you know what? What's nice about right now is there isn't a lot of other drivers out there right now. So, you know, it's less likely something bad will happen up with it. So, listen, get distracted. You're fine.
My drive to work is generally 9 or 10 minutes. On a good day, when I hit the green lights, it's 7 minutes. Right now, it's like 6 minutes, no matter what.
Right? Well, and we've said it a bunch, but you know, we want to get this out here as much as possible. And so we would love it if you guys shared it and showed it off. But especially right now, with all the crap that's going on, it's a really nice distraction. And it's not like we're out here going, oh, it's only $5 an episode or any crap like that. Like, it's literally free. If you jump on the Patreon, we appreciate it. And we give you guys, I feel like the value there is huge. We give you guys an awful lot for $2 a month. But not like it's hurting us, but I feel like we do give a lot of value in that $2, but it's free. So, you know, it's really good for you to be able to just check it out. Right now, we're officially at over 2 hours of content, right?
Yep.
As far as the general public. And by the end of the season, you'll have over 3 hours, closer to 3.5 hours of content to listen to by the end of the season. And if you've been playing or listening along and all that kind of stuff, you can feel it building. Like episode 6 was very much a lot of answers. It was a family thing that we had kind of been
like having almost 3 hours, 3.5 hours of stuff to listen to. On top of that, if we did listen to previous ones, trying to connect some dots.
Yeah.
Like I know we've already heard from a few people that are doing that pretty regularly, and I might even see it in our numbers. I can't tell if a lot of people listen to the first 2 episodes and drop off, or if a lot of people go back and listen to the first episodes again.
So yeah, and I did so on one of the places. I think it's like Podchaser or something. I don't remember where, or no, it might have been Apple actually. You're able to see the viewership, and episode 1 by and large blows the rest of them away. They have this kind of like tally point, and you can see the number of ticks, and it was all the way to the end, and then everything else was just like little bits. You know, and obviously like it kind of got smaller and smaller as it went down, but yeah, it's a big jump for sure. So, and that's just how it's going to happen.
Well, and Buzzsprout has a thing that tells us it does this algorithm and figures out how many listeners you have, and the listeners number is either around the same or more all the time. So
okay,
it might look like that's what part of what makes me wonder if people are going back and listening now and then. I mean, I don't think the first episode, obviously a lot of people are going to listen to a first episode and decide whether it's for them or not. So you're going to have drop off from the first episode, but I don't think it's maybe as bad as it could look from that even.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't know. I've been really happy with the numbers, actually. I didn't know. I think what's nice about this is you don't know what to think. Like in comics, once you put out a comic, you know what to think. But even like moving forward, it's still always like, man, I just want it to get out there. I just want people to enjoy it. And the nice thing is that we do have the end game of the idea that if it doesn't work out, we'll still have a novel.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I think that helps to keep us charged and excited about the project, because a lot of times you get into it and it's not going as well. It's not going as well as you want it to necessarily. And so you get a little worried and whatnot. But with this, it's just there's always a reason to keep going.
Right.
I just got a huge message here from someone.
Oh.
It's my cousin Michelle, and she's sending me some love and just saying she's really glad that we're kind of getting some recognition and things are happening. So thank you. We really appreciate that. We appreciate all the love and everything. It means a lot to us. And I mean, that has been the nice thing, is that fans have been really cool. We get lots of really neat questions and whatnot when it comes to when we do our after show.
Yeah, and they focus on so many details that it's cool to hear people actually listening, and they know they have to with this kind of story too. Like,
yeah. Actually, Art was saying he's like, dude, I have to go back and listen to it again because I kind of got lost. And it's like, well, yeah, there's a lot of details to it. It really is kind of a binging. And we said it from day one that it was always going to be something that was going to be really good in binging, and that we felt like we weren't worried about our initial numbers, because we felt like once we had a lot of stuff, which at this point, 6 episodes, I feel like we're there.
Yeah,
you can really see the bingers kind of coming in and just ripping it apart and going all the way through it.
You could put it on right now and clean your house because you can't go anywhere. Get that place clean and go for a walk and listen to it. Like, there's only so much you can do, so might as well listen to a free podcast.
Yeah. Oh no, go ahead.
I'd say especially if you're interested in science fiction or time travel stories. You don't have to do it right now, but I was going to ask. You had mentioned to me like a week or so ago about the way that you pitch your story to your friends right now, and I was going to see if you wanted to explain it like that.
I don't remember that.
Did I make that up, or maybe you just lied to me?
No, I mean,
no, yeah.
Oh, that's right. Okay, no. I know. Well,
like after episode 3, like the way that you've been pitching it.
It was funny because a bunch of us were together and we'd been drinking and whatnot, hanging out at their house, and I just started talking about it. And what was nice is that when we first started talking about the episode, about the series, you had to be really kind of like cautious and whatnot. And so from there, I was just like, now that we have the stuff out and we can talk about the fact that it's time traveling, you can sort of, it's the same as when you pitch your favorite TV show. You don't necessarily have to talk about the first episode. You can go a little bit in and talk about some of your favorite moments. So I got to talk about them being in 1995 and time traveling to 1995. And they're like, really? And I was like, yeah, we get to play with this and that. And we, I get to talk about real restaurants that are still in Brooklyn. And we got to talk about, about The Simpsons and music and actually being in a real record shop and all that kind of stuff, and like the clothes, and they just had a blast with that. And they're like, oh yeah, you really get to play with a lot. And I'm like, it's not even like when you're playing with time travel, you always get to, but I think the thing is we really did have a good time going through so much of that stuff.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. For the episode that launched publicly today, we went to, it starts out in the 1893 World's Fair.
Yeah.
That's been an event, like a historical event that I've been passionate about for decades. And so it was, and I don't think I haven't really researched or refreshed myself on it in quite a while though. Like life's been busy. So like going into that episode, like I got to go and research all this stuff that like I probably used to know pretty well. So it was like revisiting all this stuff that I just loved. And that was just
and I loved that episode. It was the last after show we did where you actually went through everything and talked about it all and talked about the history of it and showed us your own little collection and stuff. Like that was so cool to me, that you took it to that level and that you got to play with something that you are so passionate about. And I think that's the great thing about writing, but it's also the great thing about writing with someone else. Because when I'm passionate about something, it'll go on the page, but it doesn't, like, I'm not learning anything new, you know? And I mean, even if I am, like, research-wise, it's like as soon as you learned it, you already learned it. Yeah. So putting it on the page doesn't mean as much, but reading about it and then hearing your take on stuff and having you show me, like, I remember you showed me on an old picture from, like, 1890-something of where they walked and
yeah,
what the first Ferris wheel looked like. Like, it was so cool.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. That's like I've always because like so like the book, I don't know, probably 15 years or so, maybe more ago, the book Devil in the White City came out, and like reading that book, like he describes things really well, but like it just the whole thing just hooked me, and I just have been in love with that ever since. But like the rights to the movie for that pop in and out of like different people's hands, and I'm just like dying to like see this thing in life. So it was fun to kind of bring it to life myself. Like beginning of that episode.
Yeah, and for any of you, because I am getting a lot of people in and out. For any of you who maybe have only watched listened to an episode or two, or you don't even know what Essence House is, feel free to ask us any questions. If you have watched it, you can bring up your theories or talk about stuff, whatever you want. This is kind of just a good reminder that, hey, the episode dropped and Eric and I still like each other and still talk now and then.
Yeah, we aren't putting on a front.
It's great because like when we'll do the after show, we'll talk, and then a lot of times because he has to work, Eric might dash, but even then, sometimes he'll hang out and it'll be me, him, and Jess, and then my wife, Wendy, will hang out too. And we'll all just be, kind of shooting the shit and having a good old time and not even necessarily talking about Essence House. Just like we're genuinely friends. We genuinely get along. And so it's a lot of fun. And I think that's something else that makes this such a joy is that when I do this, like if I write an episode, I'm doing something for my buddy, because he gets to then read it and go, oh crap, like he gets to enjoy it as a fan. So I'm not necessarily thinking of the abstract fans. I get to think of a specific fan. Like I get to think of how am I going to screw with Eric.
And there's like this whole like passing something on to your friend. Like, I'm going to do this cool thing and I can't wait to see what Chuck does with this. Like,
yeah, I think my favorite one still is when you did the thing with the bar in episode 4, where we didn't really have that planned out as to what happened to Tim and how it happened and all that. And finally episode 7 rolled around and I was like, you know what? I'm dealing with this. Like, I have a perfect opportunity. I'm going to deal with it. And so you got to start something not knowing how it was going to end. And then suddenly there it was. And you're just like, oh, crap. I didn't envision that at all. Cool, you know?
That was super cool. Like, I had a thought of what was happening there, and I never really talked to you about it. And so when that happened, it was 100% not at all what I was thinking of doing with it, but way better.
Well, and I think it's better because you didn't have to do it. You know what I mean? Like, somebody else just took your idea and made something of it, and that's just such a cool idea. And it's happened kind of both ways there, and I love that feeling of and I've said it before. We remind me of 2 characters from Dulce, where they're hunters.
I mentioned Dulce. I just talked about what I've done, and I didn't even mention Dulce.
Seriously?
Yeah, I just talked about Blister and Adhesive Man, and I never even talked about Dulce.
dude. And Dulce, honestly, I mean, besides Essence House, Dulce is my favorite thing that you've worked on because it's, even though it's very like rooted in science fiction and all that kind of stuff, I feel like 100% anyone could pick that up and enjoy it and not feel like, oh, this is nerdy crap or anything. It's like just adventurous fun.
And one of my favorite things to do is create relatable characters. Yeah. And so, like in Dulce, you got this giant talking lizard or this guy that looks like a fly, and like they're relatable. They're buddies working in an office, and they bicker and they act like they've been working together, which they have for 200 years or whatever at that point. So, like, it's just a lot of fun to just create characters that people can relate to.
Yeah. Do you have, is there something in the series so far that has surprised you that you never would have seen coming, or something that really just kind of got you?
Oh man, I might have to think for a minute on that. Like the recent, I mean, like when I was writing and I came up with the walking stick recently, that was,
the walking stick is what got me.
I surprised myself on that one, because, and then I was like anxious about like pitching that to you. Like, so.
I'm glad you didn't pitch it to me. Like, he didn't. Yeah, he didn't pitch the walking stick to me there at all. It was just, here's the script, go ahead. And suddenly I'm reading it and I'm like, oh crap, that's really cool. Like, we did not, and it solved so many issues we had, and it actually like really built up the world, and a lot of the, like, so much of season 2 now can play with that and have something to do with it and whatnot. And even like the end of this season, we have a lot of stuff to do with the walking stick. So yeah, man, I love that. That one is my favorite.
Yeah, I think that was a big one, and I did that one to myself.
Yeah.
How about you?
I mean, dude, the walking stick was huge.
You did the phone call between Tristan to the house.
Oh yeah,
that was cool.
Yeah, that was another one that I didn't want to pitch it. And I think if I remember correctly, I actually wrote it all out, had it done. Just that first half of the issue.
Yeah, you sent me,
and I just sent it to you over chat.
Yeah, you sent it to me,
and you were like,
that. I was like, "That's cool."
What the hell? Yeah, yeah, no, oh yeah, that was fun too. Man, there's just been so many cool moments. I'm trying to even like go back and think earlier in the season. Yeah, there was just an awful lot. I mean, even like the very beginning. I remember you doing the "It's About Time," and that's the first thing that anybody says. And I was like, everybody's gonna get it, dude. And like no one said, like, people have said "It's About Time," but they didn't know that we said it right away. Like they didn't quite pick up on that. And that was that's one where I'm glad to be wrong. You know, and the fact that people didn't realize his name is Tim E.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh shit, are you serious? Like, who's Jess? When we told her, like, I could almost imagine her smacking herself in the head. Like, she was just.
Yeah. And it's like, Tim E is such a corny thing. So we never put it in your face. But Tim Edmund is a cool name. Like,
yeah.
So.
Yeah. It's funny because it reminds me of things like Lost, where the main character's last name is Shepard. Mm-hmm. You know, and you're just like, oh, right, yeah, you're the leader, you're gonna shepherd them all, like, ha ha ha. But it didn't feel all that overly ridiculous. And it was the same with this, where it's like we had to point that out. Like, nobody came to us and went, oh, his name is Time, ha ha. Like, no one. did that to us.
It's about time.
Yeah. But yeah, man, dude, it's been tons of fun. So if we're talking like if we're pumping episode 6 up, this one's your baby. How would you describe episode 6? Like you did most of the work on this one. What would you talk about?
So episode 6, that's the one that launched publicly today. It's hard. Like there's people watching that haven't read any of or listened to the first 5, so it's hard to figure out what you can really say.
It's true, but what I would say, like, it's kind of the same as when when I was talking to my friends, and I was able to mention episode 3.
I guess
it's like you can say something that just teases them that just goes, oh, cool, I want to catch up and get to that.
One thing that you could reassure people, like watching or listening to this episode, is that there's several answers to things that happened in the first 5 episodes, and different mysteries that come up. Obviously, like any good mystery, there's new questions too. But like that's one thing we've done good, I think, throughout the thing is answer things and leave nuggets here and there that kind of resolve. Like we don't leave loose ends necessarily, and we don't intend to. And I think episode 7 does a good job of tying up a few of those in a heartfelt, like, family episode that after these last handful of episodes that have been very, traumatic and for our characters, like pretty, like super traumatic at parts.
Yeah.
And this one is a little more, a little more chill and just.
Episode 6 needed to be a breath. Like after all the adventure and everything that had kind of come before it, and I think you handled that really well. Where we just, there was a couple moments. What was it? My favorite moment was, so I don't want to go too far into it, but when Elise reveals that she's what she's been doing all along, and what she's known, and kind of how that affects.
Yeah.
Tim, when he realizes, like, well, what? Like, seriously? And yet, he's, as much as he has every right to, maybe not hate her, but really be angry.
Kind of a betrayal. Like,
yeah. But he also can kind of go, I get it. Like, it sucks and I hate that happened, but I get it. And it was nice to have that, because we were trying to calm everyone down, and then to have this moment where it's like, it's, shit's gonna hit the fan again. It's like, no, he can handle this, especially after everything else he's dealt with. He was in a coma, and if you don't know about the coma, go back and you need to listen. It's not like a soap opera coma where he's out for like a dozen episodes because that actor is currently in rehab or something. Do you want to say hi to people, Wendy? Okay, well, we're talking to all the Essence House people. This is my lovely wife, Wendy.
Hello.
Nice to see you.
You too.
She's been really cool. She actually she edited our first episode, which we haven't edited anything since. We've just
we'll get to it.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, yeah, eventually we're going to turn into a novel, so it's going to have to be gone through, and all that will have to happen. So the novel will have some slight differences, but nothing huge. All the same stuff's still going to happen.
Yeah, anything our editor tells us to change, we'll just say no. So
yeah, I don't listen to editors either. I mean, they're kind of a waste of money, really, don't you think?
Oh.
Did you have any favorite moments from episode 6? Not giving away too much, but was there anything about episode 6 that you think?
The one where what's her name shows up at the end?
No. Episode 6 is when they're at Elise's house.
I've not listened to it.
Yes, you have.
Oh, yes, I have. Well, I mean, it was one thing I really enjoyed was the fact that you actually finally got to see them interacting with one another. Because you hear about his sister or throughout the episodes and whatnot, and then finally you actually get to see her or meet her and see an interaction between them. So that was really nice.
And baby sounds too.
It was what?
Cute baby sounds too.
Yeah, oh dude, the baby sounds were really well done actually. Yeah. That was another thing. The baby sounds, I feel like that was a moment where you screwed with yourself. Where like instead of me doing like the horn, you're like, you know what? I'm gonna throw, because I didn't expect to hear the baby. And I heard the baby sounds and I was like, oh damn, and that's a happy baby too, by the way. That's a very happy newborn.
Another sound effect thing that, well, two sound effect things. One was that episode where the girl falls off the bike. Like, had the crying girl in the background and stuff. Like, that was fun. And then the sound of the traveling through the essence. Like, I had to find like the right way to do that. Like, there's always iconic sounds to like the lightsaber lighting up, or I mean, even time travel-wise, Doctor Who, when the TARDIS goes, there's this certain sound, or like Ghostbusters when they light up and stuff like so.
Oh yeah,
there's just
and I love how in episode 7 you got to play with that sound a fair amount actually, and that was really cool. Like it went on a lot longer than normal, and it really kind of, you know, even like I, who wrote the scene, was feeling tension, like, all right, what's going to happen? And it's like, you idiot, you know exactly what's going to happen. You can almost verbalize, like, word for word what's going to happen. But I found myself, just by the sound, being all excited, like, oh, like, it really built the tension.
Yeah, you're right. It was a cool scene. And you're right, like, it was, like, adding the sound into it like that, in that way, and drawing out that part. It did kind of keep you, like, because you're like, is he going to go? Is he not? Like, it did add a lot of tension. You're right.
Yeah. Well, and because there's more than one person involved, what's going to happen, you know? So yeah. Yeah, dude, is there anything else you want to try to pitch or discuss?
Like, we're towards the end of the season now. I don't really want to tease too much at the end because I don't want to give it away to people that are just starting.
Yeah.
I just think that, just reiterating that, like, I mean, like, right now in particular, like, most people are hurting right now, even if you're still working. Like, if you have kids, you might suddenly be having to pay for childcare, which can be upwards of $100 a week. Like, just money's tight for everyone, whether you're working or not. And so it's nice to be able to have something out there that you can send people to, like, hey, you want to chill out and listen to something cool? Here you go. Like, some people, audiobooks aren't their thing. That's fine. But it's worth that. I think I put the addresses for, I mean, I guess also we're on like almost every podcast network. I hesitate to say all just because there's so many, but if you find one that we're not on, let us know and we'll get on it.
Yeah, absolutely.
But we're all over the place. You can search Essence House and we should pop up. Our website is essencehousestory.com. Our Patreon, I think it's just patreon.com/essencehouse maybe.
Well, and you can access it through the website, so that's just as easy.
Yeah, and if you don't do podcasts, you can go to the website and play any episode directly in a player on the website.
Or you can find us on YouTube even.
Oh yeah, we're on YouTube as well. There's a whole playlist of all the new episodes.
Yeah.
So, like, we've made it as accessible as we can.
Yeah.
And so I just think it's worth a shot, and I hope people check it out.
Yeah, it's funny because, like, as a writer and an editor, those are two, for me at least, those are two things where I can't have a lot of other noises going around. The TV, even if it's something I've watched a million times, I want to go back and listen to it again. Jess just came in and said hi. Hey, hon, how you doing? We love you and we miss you, and it's not the same doing a show without you.
No, this is true. Let's talk soon.
Yeah. But what the hell was I even talking about?
going back and rewatching things that you.
Oh yeah, no, I was talking about yeah, even like going back and rewatching something that I've watched 1,000 times, I still find myself being my focus is taken away from it. So I tend to not push this on, but I tend to recommend it to a lot of artists. So I'm like, hey man, you guys always have movies and TV shows and everything on in the background anyways. Check out our podcast. I think you'll enjoy it. It'll be a cool story, and maybe it'll inspire you. You know, like some of those noises and sounds and stuff could totally inspire some really cool stuff.
Right. Yeah, and also it's only 20 minutes long, so that was pretty intentional because it's not too long to be sitting to listen. It's the length of the average car ride to work. Like it's not super long, and you don't have to listen to, like we say, we have over 2 hours to listen to right now, but don't let that be daunting because you could stop at any 20-minute interval. And
yeah, and that is the nice thing. I'm really proud of the endings of all of our episodes. I feel like something that we've done is every episode, the end makes, like, I've never had someone go, cool, I can be done. Like, no, every episode, even if it's not a super hard cliffhanger, you're like, crap, what's next? Like, there's always something to kind of play with and see. So I think we've been really good about hitting our cliffhangers and not necessarily always being really mean about them, but always making people wanna get more.
I would say that as we've gone on, we've had some more meaner ones than not.
Yeah, though, I mean, even if you go all the way back, dude, the end of episode 2 is mean because you don't know anything yet, and just you're like, what the f is even going on here? Like, you have no idea.
Then you got for another 2 weeks to the next one.
Exactly. So that was rough. And as we've said 1,000 times, you almost never have to wait 2 weeks because you can always go back and listen, or you can jump on the Patreon and you can listen to next. And I would love, I'm excited for that first person who goes, screw it, I really need to hear the next one. Right. And just jumped on the Patreon. I'm excited for that moment.
Well, I agree. Because I feel like I would be that person. Like, too fucking out, I'm on it.
Especially for $2. Like, I'd be like, yeah, okay. I mean, it's $2 a month. The joke I was making for the longest time was, guys, it's half of a cup of overpriced coffee. Like, you know, because whenever you're doing anything, you know, when they would do the the UNICEF commercials and stuff, and they're like, for the price of a cup of coffee a day, I'm like, coffee doesn't cost $1 no more, man. Like, seriously. So for the price of half of an expensive cup of coffee per month. So if 1 month you only drink a small instead of a venti or whatever the you call them, then we're good.
Exactly. Well, unless anybody's got any questions, I guess.
I don't really have much else going on here. Katrina asked us to keep it going on, but we can only go for so long. And really, it's not about us talking right now. It's us getting you excited to watch the series and hopefully check it out and enjoy it. I mean, I think we're just tickled that anyone would want to check out what we do and you know, hopefully get into it and talk to us about it, or even just enjoy it and say it somewhere randomly. Like, it's a really good feeling. And, you know, we said it a couple times, but especially with everything that's going on right now, gang, it's there. It's free. We would love for you to enjoy it by all means.
Yeah, send us. We love to get people's theories. So tell us what you think's going on. Like, that's a lot of fun for us.
Yeah. Yeah, and we got some love from both Jess and Katrina. Jess said she can't wait for the next episode, and that's the fun thing is every time we record the after show, depending on whether the next episode's recorded or not, we either show it to her recorded or one of us will read it to her. and she has a blast with that, and that's something that we've done is Jess does not get to know ahead of time before the after show what happens afterwards, because I know that it's even difficult on us.
Genuine, like if she's asking us a question, then she doesn't know. It's great. It lets her ask questions that she wouldn't have asked if she knew already.
Katrina said she's enjoying the series so much that she would share her pizza. I am starved. I would gladly take care of that. I like reading to Jess. She says, I like when you guys read it to me. It feels like a bedtime story for a 30-year-old. You know what I mean? Like, all right, sit down. Are you ready? And she'll be like sitting in her chair, kind of like, sitting back and everything. And I'm like, all right, 1893. And like go from there. I remember that one came up, and Wendy said, there's a problem with that episode. I said, what do you mean? She goes, 1893. It's 1993. I was like, no, baby, it's 1893. It's oh, cool. Oh, she asked. Yeah, that's right. She didn't say it was a mistake. She asked. She's like, is that a mistake? I'm like, nope. That was meant to be.
Unless anybody out there wants to hop on and chat with us.
Yeah, no, I think, yeah. I mean, if you guys want to, by all means, if you guys have any questions or anything, theories. But if not, we've gone for 50 minutes. Actually, this is pretty good.
Yeah, this is probably my limit for you.
Dude, I get it, man. I get it. I specifically don't have mirrors because if I did and I had to hang out with me for too long, I'd be like, you need to go.
Wendy's a keeper.
She's doing God's work. Yeah, but they were talking. Yeah, they weren't talking specifically about me though. Wendy is she works at Dollar General at a grocery chain, and so she's out there in the middle of it. And so there's been a bunch of people who are like, we really appreciate what you do, which it sucks that it takes something like this to hear that, but
yeah,
she deserves it, and I'm glad she's finally hearing it.
Like for the last 30 years of their lives that they've been, or 40 or 50 years of their lives that they've been grocery shopping, she's been doing the same thing.
Yeah.
But now, I mean, now there's more danger to doing that job, but still, you're being fed because people are putting this stuff out for you. Like,
yeah.
It was all.
Yeah, and what if they'd all quit at some other random point and just decided not to? It would have affected your life, but they're not. They're doing their jobs like they should be. So, essential workers indeed.
All right. Well,
yeah.
Thanks for checking us out. And now,
yeah, we really appreciate it.
Go check out our show now. And stay healthy and safe, man.
Yeah. Keep your distance, but don't look like you're trying to keep your distance.
Like me and Chuck, there's like 30 hours between us. We're safe.
Yeah. And we like that.
We've been social distancing for quite a while.
We have, our whole relationship has been one big example of social distancing. Yeah. But seriously, guys, thank you so much. We really appreciate everyone coming out today, checking us out, listening to the podcast. Share it around if you enjoy it. Hell, even if you don't, you can hit me up or Eric up personally and tell us what you think. Like we're open and to listen to you and to what you think. So,
and if it's not your thing, but you have to know somebody whose thing it could be, like get it to those people.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool.
So yeah, thank you so much, everybody, for coming out. We always have a really good time hanging out with you guys. We'll see you in another week. If you're a Patreon user, we'll see you in a week, and you can check out the after show. But if not, there's more goodness coming. We just got to keep going on. You're gonna see us all the way at least until the end of episode 10, and then we're gonna push on through there. So,
yep,
yeah, that's what's up.
Thank you. It's ending. We're still
sort of ending. We're still there. What's going on?
It's still ending.
It's so funny that you're so good at this normally.
I'm like, what is going on? No, wait a minute. It said it's having trouble with the connection. Are we?
We're still live.
Hi, guys.